Welcome to the second part of our interior series. In this tutorial, we are going to make an elegant couch on which you can watch your favorite movies. So let's get started. And also, if you want to download the project files, you will get it on my Gumroad page. Link is in the description. So in Blender, let's add in a cube and now press N, and you can see that the measurements are in meters. Which is not really ideal for making furniture because we want the minutest control over it. So let's change that to centimeters. To do that, go to scene properties and under units, change the length from meters to centimeters. We will start with the armrest. So for the couch, they are usually 70 centimeters high, 15 centimeters wide, and 80 centimeters long. Now let's duplicate it and rotate it by 90 degree to make the back side, which will be 220 centimeters, and place it in the correct position. And press Ctrl A to apply the scale of every object, and it is a really good practice to avoid yourself from artifacts and glitches. Now to save yourself some time, you can add a mirror modifier to the armrest and select the mirror object as the back side. Now you just save yourself from double work. Now add a cube again to make this bottom frame of the couch. It's 220 centimeters on the y-axis, 65 centimeters on the x-axis, and 20 centimeters on the z-axis. Now you can see that the armrests are super duper sharp. So to avoid yourself from injuring, add a bevel modifier. Decrease the amount of bevel and add segments to make it round. And right click to shade it smooth. And repeat this bevel on the rest of the couch. Now since we are making a L-shaped couch, it should look like L-shape, which it isn't right now. So select the bottom frame and go to edit mode and select loop cut tool to add loop cut. From this drop down, change the number of cuts to 2. Now our couch is divided in 3 equal parts. Now from this drop down, turn on edge length measurement. Then select this face and press E to extrude and extrude it until this edge becomes 70 centimeters. I think it looks like an L shape now. Now add a cushion again to make these big seat cushions. Its dimensions are 15 cm on the z-axis, 65 on the x-axis, and 148 cm on the y-axis. Now go to edit mode and add 20 loop cuts like this. And while adding loop cuts from the other side, try to keep the geometry as square as possible, or it can lead to uneven geometry. And same on the z-axis. Then apply scale and add a subsurf modifier and shade it smooth. And press Shift D to duplicate it on the other side. You might need to adjust the scale a little bit. Now for the cushion on the back, add a cube and scale it down to a sensible size. And do check if 3 cushions can fit in the couch. Then apply scale. In edit mode, add many loop cuts and make sure to preserve square geometry here also. Now add a subsurf modifier and set that from Catamount Cull to simple. This will preserve the sharp edges. And then add the cloth modifier. Then under physics options, enable pressure. Now this pressure value is a variable. But first, under field weights, set the gravity to 0 and change the subdivisions to 3. And turn off object collision. Now let's experiment with the pressure value of 1. So play the timeline and the simulation will play. You can see at a value of 1, the cushion feels very loose and it feels like it has air filled in it like a packet of chips. At a value of 5, the wrinkles look tight and the cushion feels much more cushiony than before. And at a value of 10, the cushion fills in very quickly, which gives it very solid squashed look. And that's why I found 5 as the best value for our cushions. So stop the timeline at a desired frame and then apply both subsurf and cloth modifiers. Then simulate 2 more cushions, and I recommend having some variation in the pressure and the timeline so they don't look exactly identical. Then tilt all of them a little bit because no couch on earth has a backrest of exactly 90 degree. Then you can add a subsurf modifier to make the wrinkles much more enhanced, and it will also get rid of these jagged edges. Then for the smaller cushions, add in a cube and make sure to have square geometry across the mesh, and add a subsurf and cloth modifier. Then, like we have done before, simulate it with different pressure values. Now position all cushions in a very random manner so they should look natural, like somebody just thrown the cushion or the cushion just fell off, or anything which naturally happens. Now at this point our couch is basically done, but it still looks fake because if you think about a couch, it is probably made out of cotton, wool, linen, etc. And where there is fabric, there are always wrinkles like I have on my t-shirt. And the reason why I didn't simulate cushion seats is because if you take a look at real life references of cushions, they look very cubish, and when you simulate cushions in Blender with cloth modifier, they tend to look like this, which does not look real. So a great solution to this problem is sculpting, and since the release of Blender 2.83, cloth brush has been added to Blender, which is perfect solution for our problem. So select the cushion seat and apply its subsurf modifier, then go to sculpt mode and select this cloth brush and drag it over. And it is behaving in a weird way because it lacks geometry. So add a subsurf modifier, set it to 2 and apply. Now you can see that it is forming better wrinkles. So I recommend setting the strength low because too much strength makes it look fake, and sculpt from a close distance, which will give it more details. If the wrinkles look too much, you can use the smooth brush by holding down shift and drag. I highly recommend taking a look at references while sculpting. In this way you will exactly understand what you are doing. You can use the grab deformation in the cloth brush to move the desired portion of the cushion. Same for the cushion seats, add wrinkles to the cushions with drag deformation, but make sure it's subtle. And same for the backrest. And there we go, slightly detailed but much needed detail. Now this step is completely optional, but if you like it, you can do it easily. So select any object and go to edit mode and press / to isolate the object. Now select an edge in the corner while holding Alt to select loop, and do the same vertically and horizontally from all corners. After you have selected all the edges, press Shift D to duplicate and then press P to separate selection. Then select the object we just separated and press F3 in the viewport to search, and search convert to curve. Now this object is a curve object, so go to curve properties and under geometry, increase the bevel depth and shade it smooth, and decrease it to a lower number like 0.1. And as you might have guessed it, these are seams found on some couch and sofas. So this is an extra step towards detail, but some have it and some don't. So it's your choice if you want to have it or not. So do the same for all the objects of your choice. Now to make a blanket, let's add in a plane and tilt it a little bit and move it on the Z axis. Then add a collision modifier to the objects with which the blanket is going to interact. In my case, it's the cushion seat and the bottom frame. And under collision settings of the soft body on cloth, set the friction to the highest, and this will avoid the blanket from slipping down the couch. Then add a cloth modifier to the blanket, and under collision, check self collision and decrease the distance to the lowest, which is 0.1. Then in edit mode, add loop cuts for geometry and preserve square geometry here as well. Then add a subsurf modifier and move it above the cloth modifier and set it to simple. Then press spacebar to play the timeline. So it definitely needs more subdivisions. So let's go to edit mode and press A to select all and right click and subdivide, and let's simulate it. And add one more subsurf modifier, and now you can see it looks great. So try experimenting with different position, different angles, and once you're satisfied, apply all the modifiers and add a subsurf modifier after that, and then add a solidify modifier with very low thickness. Now parent everything to the base frame. So select the base and then press A to select all, and make sure that the base is highlighted in yellow. Then press Ctrl P, object keep transform. And if you want to flip the couch, you can press Ctrl M and press the axis on which you want to flip. In my case, it's Y. So give yourself a pat on the back because the modeling part is over. Now it's time for texturing. So go to shading tab and add a new material. For the texture, I will be using Fabric 019 from Ambient CG, and I will download a 2K texture. Then select the principal shader and press Ctrl Shift T and make sure you have Node Wrangler add-on turn on, and select the textures you have just downloaded. I will only select the color and the normal map, and I will turn the roughness to 0.9. Then go to edit mode and press A to select all, and then go to UV, Smart UV project, and then increase the scale of the texture. Then you can add a mix color node and plug it into the base color and texture into the mix node. And I will set the color to a very light orange color. And you can use the factor value to control the influence of the color. And do the same for most of the similar objects, and add same material to the seams and Smart UV project them as well. For the cushions, I will use this Fabric 076, and for your kind information, if Smart UV project looks weird on cushions, then you will have to select all the corner edges and mark them as seams. Then press A to select all and then unwrap. For the blanket, I searched for cloth pattern texture and I downloaded the image, and to edit, select the principal shader and press Ctrl T and then open the downloaded texture. Then you can add a hue saturation and brightness contrast node to adjust its color. Now for the final touch, let's add in couch legs, which I forgot actually. So add a cube and scale it down and go to edit mode, and here press Shift D to duplicate on all sides where it makes sense. And then in object mode, add a bevel modifier and apply its scale and decrease the amount of the bevel and increase the segments, and add a wooden material to it. Now at this point our couch is completely done, and you can do some little changes, but the basics are going to be the exact same. Now you can place it in a room with a good interior and make a good animation like this. So that's it for the tutorial, and tell me if you like this new format of video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.